My name is Maartje and I'll be your host for this series where we will put the online and hybrid masters of Tilburg Law School in the spotlight. Well, thank you so much for being here for a nice conversation about the program of International Business Taxation. I'm happy to have you here. Perhaps we can start with a short introduction. And Martha, thank you so much for being here. I was actually wondering because it's quite interesting. You are an alumna of the program and now you're also a lecturer here. So perhaps you can share your story on why you chose the program first and how it all went.
Yes, so hello everyone. My name is Martha Caziero and indeed I'm here wearing these two hats. So I'm on the one hand assistant professor here at Tilburg University and I am an alumna of IBT. I graduated in 2017. So I chose the program because back in the days when I attended my fourth year of law school in Italy, I had the course in tax law and I just found it challenging and interesting because of its economic component. So I decided to come to Tilburg to continue. And then I just proceeded with my career. So after the LLM, I went back to Italy to work as a tax consultant. And then I started a PhD in Vienna. So after Vienna, after my graduation in the PhD program, then I came back to Tilburg. But in the meantime, I also did other things. I also went to the European Commission for an internship, but maybe we will have the chance to talk about it later.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And Lize-Mari, you're not faculty staff as in teaching staff, but you work here more on the innovative side, right, of TLS. Can you perhaps share your passion behind it or how you came into this path?
Sure, I'm Lize-Mari Mitchell and I'm part of the TLS innovation team. So Tilburg Law School has a allocated team of people that work specifically with innovation, and I work with all the hybrid programs. So we have a team of people that make sure that hybrid programs are on the level that we want the quality of education at TLS to be.
Very interesting, thank you. And lastly, we're also here with Alexandros. I think in the meantime, you're already a graduate of the program, correct?
Yes. Hello, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandros Marinakis. Indeed, I am a graduate of the program. I actually found this program really interesting because I have a more financial and economic background, actually in accounting. And for that reason, I really wanted to join the program, and I'm really happy to be here to also talk about the program because I do believe it's a very good program for everybody, depending on background or not, economic or tax law. It's a very good program.
Great, let's dive into it and perhaps we will learn more about you in the upcoming questions. So, well, for the people who are watching this podcast and have never heard of the program of International Business Taxation, it can be interesting to hear a bit more about the program. And Martha, could you perhaps in your own words share what the program International Business Taxation is about?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, taxation really is about economics and law. Why is that? Because every provision, and I'm happy to see Alexandros nodding, every provision has an economic rationale. So IBT is about this, and it's also about the globalization of taxation. So taxation did not escape the process of globalization. It's not anymore only a domestic matter, it's also a globalized matter, which is evident from transfer pricing issues, for instance, which is one of our courses in IBT. So a graduate then, when a person graduates from IBT, is able to understand tax matters from all of these perspectives, so economics, law, and also from an international point of view, let's say. I think this is what sets a graduate of IBT apart in the job market.
Yeah, very interesting. And what I'm also curious about, Tilburg University cares a lot about impacting society. So how would you say that the program of International Business Taxation plays a part within society?
So taxes are a policy tool that has a lot of impact on our lives as individuals and as part of a community, right? So in a sense, through taxes, we finance what we know today as the welfare state, so streets, healthcare, roads. This is one side. Also, through taxes, we can influence behavior. So if the government wants us to smoke less, it will impose a higher tax on tobacco products. Or if it wants us to have to pollute less the environment, then we'll have a higher tax on polluting products, which can be, for instance, motor fuels. So you can really see that taxation really does have an impact on our daily lives. And I do think it's important to know how, therefore, a tax system is designed, how it functions, how we can improve it. So yes, certainly I think that taxes and international taxation has an impact on society.
Yeah, very interesting. And in the introduction you mentioned you actually did an internship at the European Commission, right? So do you perhaps have some practical a practical example of how you were able to use your knowledge from the program within your internship?
Yeah, well, I worked, while at the European Commission, I worked in the Directorate General for Taxation, specifically in a unit dealing with VAT. So for me, it was really essential to have the knowledge I gained back in the days in IBT, in the course of VAT in cross-border situations. And this was also an opportunity indeed to realize the impact that taxes have on society, because I could really see how policy choices are made at European level, so what considerations are taken into account, also what kind of negotiations happen between the member states and the European Commission. So I think it was a good opportunity in that sense.
Yeah. Very interesting, and I hear your background more on the policy side. You mentioned you came from accounting, so what type of students would you say could be interested in this program? Is there one specific one, or are there multiple who could be interested in this program?
So all students who have a background in law and economics, or economics, broadly speaking, are welcome to our program. Potentially also young professionals are welcome. However, it needs to be always bear in mind that the program is a full-time master's, so you need to evaluate. If you're thinking about it and you're a full-time worker, you need to evaluate the feasibility of combining it with a full-time job.
Yeah, very good disclaimer, I think. And Alexandros, how did you come from your background in accounting to decide to do a master's more on the law and taxation side?
That's really interesting indeed. Well, I was working as an accountant for the longest time. I finished actually, as I said, accounting and finance was my original bachelor's. And especially during COVID era, when I was working and people were working remotely or from their house, businesses were working from cross borders, etc. I would come across a lot of situations that were difficult for me as an accountant. Let's say, how do I declare that? What should I do? Who should I consult? Etc. So, yeah, instead of always having to ask the tax guys, so to speak, I also said, hey, why don't I try to become one myself? And I really think it is very important, because I have seen one part of the situation, but then it is a whole different ball game when you can actually see what laws exist, what policies exist, etc. So yeah, because of my professional background and because of the struggles, I thought that this would be a very interesting program, and that's how
very interesting.
I ended up here.
Yeah, very glad, of course, that you were here at Tilburg University. And as mentioned a little bit already, we also have this conversation to highlight the online and hybrid masters of Tilburg Law School. Now this, of course, raises the question for me, since there's multiple law programs at Tilburg Law School, why is this one of the three programs that was selected for the online aspect of the program? And I think this could be a nice question for you, Lize-Mari.
Yeah, well, following COVID, the Tilburg Law School had a lot of online students, and they kind of realized that there's a need for an online option for students. They didn't want to lose all these students when we started coming back to campus. So the law school looked at the courses we had and decided which ones would be more appropriate for online, and we have 3 master's degrees that the content of the courses are internationally based, so it's not Dutch legislation specifically. For example, IBT focus on international taxation, and based on that they realized that we want to make it online, we want to make it open not just to students in the Netherlands, not just to students in Europe, but for students all over the world. and that's why we moved it into an online option.
Yeah, so like the open door aspect really makes it more accessible, right? Because students who would maybe not be able to come down to the Netherlands in the first place, first because of COVID, but of course also due to financial reasons or other reasons, now do have the opportunity to follow the program.
Yes, the only problem or issue that there could be is the time zone. So as long as you're willing to study in a European time zone, it doesn't matter where in the world you are able to follow this program.
Yeah, and I think that's also another good disclaimer to make. So you do actually join the classes live, right? So indeed, if it's a 10 a.m. class in the European time zone, no matter where you are, that's the time that you will follow the class. So that is good to bear in mind. And Alexander, you actually chose to follow this program online. Yeah, so I'm very curious, how did you experience it? Because yeah, you are a student of Tilburg University, but also maybe behind your laptop. So how did you experience this?
That was a tough choice for me, to be honest, because it offered me a lot of flexibility, but I also I'm a very extroverted person. I truly like to be around people. I like to talk to people and be in contact with them. So the thing is that sometimes I did feel a little bit left out. Not left out, it's perhaps too harsh, but I did feel like I wasn't part, so to speak, of the classroom in itself. Being behind your laptop can also be a bit tiring. However, the students themselves, also the university, they have a lot of tools that can integrate everyone. And really, if you would send a message to any student, even if you're online or not, everybody would be willing to help you. Everybody would be very, very kind, and they would make you feel like one. But yeah, maybe for someone who's a bit less extroverted, maybe it's a bit better. It depends on the preferences, I think.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, it was all great with the students, etc.
Yeah, happy to hear, and it's also good to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like what fits me, my personality, and also my lifestyle. In that sort of sense. And Lize-Mari, I'm actually quite interested in, because you are part of the innovation team, like how from the innovative side are you working on the program of IBT, or is there maybe new developments sort of to say that you can share something about?
Well, I can actually just add to the previous question as well. If someone decides to study a hybrid course at Tilburg Law School, something they can really rest assured in is there's a team of people that is focused on making sure you have quality education. And for us, quality education is not just what you experience in the classroom, it's also outside of the classroom. So for example, my key priority is the hybrid programs. One of them is community building. So we look at all the different aspects that encompasses the educational experience, and we're continuously getting feedback from the students, getting feedback from the staff. Then we go back to the drawing board and we get solutions. If we, for example, with community building, we realize that there are students that have a greater need for that, but they can't come to campus-based activities. So let's create a platform for them where they can do an online engagement. Other than the community building, we have a blended approach. So we have a team of people looking at every single course and seeing where can we make it more interactive. How can we make sure that no student feels left behind, whether they're behind the screen or in the classroom. We have a lot of exciting gamification elements in the courses, which the online students really appreciate, because the gaming elements are online. So we run these games online, and it's very educational. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is an effective new way of teaching. So that is some of the things that we are currently working on, and that is on top of what you would expect of a university of this level.
Yeah, that's so great to hear. And I'm actually also curious, because it's quite new, right, for a law school to offer fully academic programs online. So how did you put this on the map in the field of higher education? Was it posting it online and it all happened naturally, or were there more steps involved?
Well, I think the first thing to realize is that there's a big difference between online courses and hybrid courses. We are not offering exclusively online education, so that opens a door in marketing, because some students do not want to have an asynchronous learning experience. So we're giving and synchronous learning experience, meaning that students are both in a classroom with the on-campus students, but also there are some experiences where you're completely in your room studying at your own pace. But the process involved, it takes about a year. We're now working on a new program that would be hopefully be hybrid within a year or so. It takes a year to 2 years to get a program from in classroom to hybrid. So it's really a process, and we start from the bottom up. We start getting staff on board, and from there it takes every single course. We innovated to make sure that we're not just taking a traditional classroom and having a camera record the lecturer. That's not the approach at Tilburg Law School. We make sure that what we give them is a high quality, hybrid, interactive experience.
Yeah, I think that's maybe very good to mention, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not you just join something broadcasted online, but it's really developed for you as a student to get the full experience. And I think we're already heading towards the end of the podcast and wrapping up. But maybe for the alumni of the program, do you perhaps both have something to share for like an IBT potential student, like why they either should do this, or maybe to think of like, oh, this is something I wish I would have known before applying to the program?
Well, if I may, I'll say don't be shy. Don't be shy, whether you're online or in classroom. Don't be shy to get in contact with everybody, to feel included. It's really the faculty and everybody makes their best to make you feel, to make the flow of the lesson like one. And indeed there are many options and many teams and ways that you can do that. But for me, it really broadens your perspective, and as someone who's coming from an economic background, I wouldn't have never thought that there is a whole other world in the other side. And probably for someone who has a law background, it could be the opposite. So it's extremely interesting to do it if you're interested in taxation.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And to close off, do you have anything to add to that, Martha?
No, I think it was a great closure, and also, yes, I wish I could do it all over again. So, yes, it was also a great experience for me back in the days. So I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much. It was a great conversation, learned a lot about the program, and I think students would really need to dive into the opportunities of being able to follow it hybrid, right? To find out what this is and if it could be something for them. So thank you so much.
Thank you
very much.